Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Inside COD. I'm your host, Nick Petrillo.
And I'm Anna Pierczynski. Glenn Hansen has been a photographer for 40 years and gives his viewers images that share the experience of wherever he may be. His subjects have ranged from urban, suburban, to rural. Since 1991, he has worked to make the photography program at the College of DuPage one of the best in the country. Hi, Glenn.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
So tell us your origin story. How did you get into photography?
Oh, I think that I got started when I was a Cub Scout. Really, long time ago. I made my first photograph. There was this hippo, and it just really began to fall in love with this picture I made. And it became an interest, and then later in high school I started to pay attention to photography more and was influenced by some people that were photographers. And when I graduated from high school, the first thing I did was buy a 35mm camera. I'd had others prior to that, but I really was bitten by the bug. It became a passion, so much so that while I went to college and I was studying biology for environmental studies and things like that and wildlife management, I was spending way more time photographing. And by the time I reached my senior year, it was, okay, do I start all over again as an art major, or do I finish as a biologist? I decided to get out of college. It was finish it up, move on. And I then came here a couple years later to start really doing some photography and learn some things, and just fell deeper in love with it. So there have been photographers that have influenced me over the years, and that just fed that passion. So that's kind of how I got started. Just you decide on what you want to do, your passion, and you follow it.
So when you go out and take these photographs, what specifically do you look for in maybe the landscape or the subjects?
Well, it depends on the space I'm going and where I'm going. I've photographed urban things for a long time. I've photographed the transition zone between suburban and rural. That's a project that's ever going on. And a lot of the last many years I've been photographing out west in the high plains. And the initial thing I respond to is light. The color of the light, the quality of the light. The landscape becomes this surface that interacts with it, and it becomes an emotional response, an intuitive response. And then as you look closer at the details, there are things that you start to see that describe the character of the place. And so those are the things I like to bring back. I want to share those. Had a friend that in critiques when I was in grad school would say, you know, what you're doing is you're saying to your viewer, here, come take a look at this. I want you to see this special thing. And that's kind of what my photography is about. I want you to share that experience that I'm experiencing at the time.
All right. Now tell us a little bit about how you went about doing the photography program here. What made it so special and one of the best programs in the entire state or even the country?
You mean as at the time that I was working here or when I was a student here? Because I've experienced both.
Well, what makes COD different, I'd probably say?
Well, I think it's the uniqueness and the depth of our program. We have the benefit of being both a professional program and a fine art program. People can come from the community, from around the region. We've had students from around the world to come here because of that blend. So you can come here and you can pursue your personal passion, your personal interest in making images that are a personal expression, or you can come here and learn a skill set that's going to make for a very enjoyable career. A hard career, but a very enjoyable career. So we are dedicated to preparing people with real-world skills so that when they leave here after 2 years or longer, depending upon how many courses they take out of the 27 courses we have, they're prepared to go out and work for somebody or start their own business. And that's one of the things that makes us unique, because higher education is often divided up into a technical school. That's going to give you just training to be this technician, or they train you to be and educate you in the arts, and then you have to figure out how to make a living as a starving artist. So you find the blend, and you find that you can support yourself with the skill set and still find a way to express yourself.
Now, you talked about that you were both a student and kind of an instructor at the college. Can you talk more about your experiences working for the college and kind of specifically being the president of Faculty Association?
It's been a real interesting 30-some years that I've been here. I started as an adjunct in '85, so I've been here 33 years. So I've had that experience of working as an adjunct who are the backbone of what we do here at the institution. They are teaching a large percentage of our courses and often scrambling around and going elsewhere to make their living. As a full-time faculty member, you really then begin to learn what's involved in being a full-time faculty member. It's more than just presenting in class. There's a commitment and an engagement with the students that's involved here, an engagement with the institution. So through that engagement, you get involved in committees. You get to work cross constituencies with classified staff, administrators, colleagues that are both instructors, full-time and part-time. And that eventually led me to the idea of really liking the concept of shared governance. So I became involved in the Faculty Senate, and I spent half dozen years or more doing that. And then I ran for president, served 2 years as president, 2 years as past president, then came back and ran and was another term for another 5 years. It's very interesting to be at the table, shall we say, talking with the other constituencies to solve problems. And that's the real valuable thing, and I've really enjoyed that. There were good times, and there certainly were bad times, but it was all just a really good experience. I think I take from it, in the end, the ability for us all to come together and solve problems. It's when we don't try to solve problems and we try to dominate and not collaborate that we end up having bigger problems. And we certainly went through a period of time where that was the issue in my second term, was a lot of turmoil and upheaval that wasn't necessary if we had just worked to solve problems. But we came out of it because we realized that we could come back and collaborate. We could work broad constituencies within the institution and outside of the institution to solve these problems. And so that was a wonderful experience. So I enjoyed those years. It was a wonderful time.
Now, as you're preparing to go on to the next step of your career, a lot of your students are also preparing to graduate and go on to the next step of their careers. What advice would you have for them?
My advice would be, really do a self-assessment of what it is that you want to do. What are you really passionate about? What do you want to follow? And understand that the first thing you do when you come out of the college is not going to be your end. It's the start. And for our photography students, one of the things they need to learn is that the career as a photographer is a patchwork. It's a quilt. That you're going to do a lot of different things, and you're going to learn that you do not have the final say. You're going to work for somebody else. And they have expectations of what has to be done, what you have to deliver. You have to understand that you are obliged to meet that responsibility. But if you always keep in mind that it is making photographic images that you love to do, it can turn into a very, very enjoyable career. But it's going to take time, and it's going to take commitment to your passion.
And just to reflect on your career a little bit more, what do you think has been your single biggest contribution to the college?
I think my biggest contribution has been the photography program and the education that I've provided and shared in with the students, because it is a collaboration. It's a symbiotic relationship. They give to me, I give to them. We grow together. But it's been the education, that experience of working with students that has been what I feel is my greatest contribution, is that.
Giving them some more patches on that quilt?
Yep, exactly.
So the photography program has an event coming up next week. So can you tell us about Photo Exposed?
Photo Exposed is a great event that now showcases our graduating students. We have the students that are in the portfolio class that are now presenting their final work for the public to see, to receive feedback, but they're on display now as our ambassadors. That we've had this show for the past several years over in the large room 2000, which is going to be under construction, so we couldn't use it. So this year is a little different. We're doing it in the hallways of the photo program, which actually is wonderful, because now people can come to the event and they can see the program area. They can come in and see the fantastic studios, dark rooms, computer labs that we have, and see students in class doing things. So it's a wonderful outreach to the community. We're also displaying 23 final pieces by high school students in the area that were juried and selected, framed and displayed. So it's a community outreach as well as an opportunity to brag about our students.
And that's not the only event going on right now. I know down in Chicago you have some of your photographs being exhibited right now. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a show down in Bridgeport that our program specialist organized. And Frank organized this, and it's made up of students, alumni, faculty, community members down there that are working, or professional photographers. And so it's a great event. The opening was last Friday. It's up for 2 weeks now. Small selection of photographs from each person, but it's a wonderful spread of different types of photography, from street photography to fine art, color photography, and also Chris Johnson work, who is one of our students that was a staff photographer for the Courier that unfortunately passed away while he was still a student here. But he was a magnificent photographer, and so that's on down there. And it's everybody should take some time to go see it if they can. It's good to see the other part of the world. Get into the city, come out of the burbs, go into the city. It's active life in there.
So you seem relatively busy right now, but now that you're retired, what do you plan on doing next?
Oh, so you saved the toughest question for the end. I plan to be just as busy. I'm focused at first will be family. They have been very supportive of the years that I've spent here at the college, both as an instructor and as a faculty leader. So they've, in some ways, paid a little bit of a price, my absence. Maybe that's a blessing, but you have to ask them on a given day. But I plan to just keep working. Photographs, organizing some more shows. I've got decades of work that I've not had time to really analyze, but I'm most excited about making new images. Plan to hit the road soon, go make some more photographs, then share those, do some writing, do some a little bit of educating in workshops, but not a formal classroom role anymore. So it's going to be exciting.
But you'll still be sticking your nose in here, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to be one of those retired faculty members that becomes a ghost. I'm going to be around. Maybe haunting the place, but I will be around to, because this has been a big part of my life, and just because I'm retiring doesn't mean I'm gone.
Well, congratulations on your retirement, and we look forward to seeing you the next time you come around to the school.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Bon
Thank you.
voyage.
Thank you.